Bluetooth connected.
Shit, yo, man. Visit, man. Look, that shit, you step all the way on the neck, step on that neck, and you deal with this shit.
Let me start soon. 1 second.
Dear Lord, I hope you hear my prayer. We know that you will, so can you follow through? Father, have mercy on the call. So the times you ain't had to play with. Yeah. Boy. 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 Look, I keep it on to the T. You became play kings. Ain't shit sweet. Got so like get it sweet. There's a whole nother way, boy. Get the fuck on the beach. I'm in the field with the clicks. Ain't one of us here British, nigga. All black, other jack, man. All them niggas go tree. Go through all black, other jack, man. All them niggas go tree. I'm in the field with the clicks. Ain't one of us here British. Go through all black, other jack, man. All them niggas go tree. But the shit is the wings. I'm on gold, but they don't believe. You know I'm winning with the team. Vinny, beach. And them devils screwing up. Let them work. So, I'm about to cut the curse. On my brain, it's a work. Sorry, on the line, nigga speak. Said the church. On a west, nigga, that's the church. They cross the line. I'm a back. I'm in this life. And I took 300 strong, 144 here tonight. Who I need to be? In this bitch with the hype. That all the sweet. Say, I'm sweet. The nigga making the wrong move. He say, I'm the lead. But he can't put us in the lead. He ain't put us in the break. Go through all that cause it's dead, man. All things go tree. Go keep it all to the T. You became play the keys. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on it. My youngin' get a sweet. This a whole other way. So get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the keys. Ain't one of us here bricks. Go through all black cause it's dead, man. All them niggas go tree. Go through all black cause it's dead, man. All them niggas go tree. I'm in the field with the keys. Ain't one of us here bricks. Go through all black cause it's dead, man. All them niggas go tree. Go my click, for real with it. I keep the street foot on my hip, but it can feel with it. It's all the competition at the uncle feel with it. And if my target's on the move, I can steal with it. I speak true cause it's necessary. Color check revolutionary. Cold load on like January. Command General is a visionary. Slow food, no sweets. Your preacher man, he's sweet. Matter of fact, he weak. It's for time for people think you hard, nigga, you can't. But with us, nigga, you can't. You smart cars, we can't. We form up in ranks. We buy back this rap shit. All black, no white shit. Real life, no cap, bitch. Fall on that cap shit. I can't on the thing. You became like the king. Ain't shit sweet, got thoughts on it. And my youngin' is sweet. This is a whole other way. So get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the kicks. Ain't one of us here bricks. They go through all black, the jack, man. All them niggas go to tree. Go through all black, the jack, man. All them niggas go to tree. I'm in the field with the kicks. Ain't one of us here bricks. Go through all black, the jack, man. All them niggas go to tree.
Like, I'm jamming to the song. You know what I mean? It's like, keep playing Captain the Car. I want to get this class started. Like, so let's go ahead and get into it. We're gonna go ahead and clap it up. Start off saying Shalom Israel. Yahweh Bashem Yahshai Baraka Thumb to all the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Thumb Bashem Yahshai to all the sisters, all the Akwafian, as you would say in the Hebrew, all the sisters, all the Akim, as we would say in the Hebrew, to all the brothers. As we always start off, this is the scripture breakdown for HBK Northern California. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat. You understand? And we should definitely be seeing people come to class with questions, unless you all know the Bible, and we shouldn't even have this class at all, because you know the whole Bible, so we shouldn't even be here. But if you are at home reading your Bible, reading your sword, studying, you should come across some questions that you have. So, all right. But we'll give it like one more second, and we'll just go ahead and get to the breakdown for tonight's topic. Let's see. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right, let's see what we got here. So, it's good to be back in the Bay. I was out of town last week, and There's a lot of things that have taken place since then. Main topic of the week, of the month, of the next year and 4 years is um, Donald Trump was reelected president of the United States of America. And many people are sad, many people are crying, many people are losing their minds about what's going on. And many people are celebrating and in a joyous state about what's going on. For the people that are crying and sad about what's happening, we've been telling you this is going to happen since 1969. For the people that's celebrating and happy about this going on, we've been telling y'all that this is going to happen since 1969. We don't have a dog in this fight as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. This is glorious in the sight of the priests and prophets of the Lord, because we know these are the things that have to happen in order for this place to be destroyed, in order for the place of our captivity to be destroyed, for us to be taken out of this land, right, and given back our homeland. These things have to happen. So when you are invested in this place and you think that your survival, your future, your well-being is predicated on your oppressor, then you're going to have an emotional response to who becomes your quote unquote leader, who becomes the leader of this nation, as they say, the free world. So a few precepts come to mind. I got some down, but one that can't put it more clearly is in the book of Lamentations. We got a few milk precepts we'll go to, but let's go to the book of Lamentations first. The book of Lamentations, chapter 4, and we'll start at verse 17. Matter of fact, let's go to a little bit above. So we'll go to the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, and verse 12. The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the adversary and the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem. For the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests that have shed the blood of the just in the midst of her. They have wandered as blind men in the streets. They have polluted themselves with blood, so that men could not touch their garments. Right? The so-called priests and prophets that were supposed to be leading Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans had turned on their people, had used the power that was given to them to take advantage of the Lord's chosen people. And so these sins have gone up to the Lord, and this is the reason why our people are in the condition they're in, because of their leadership. And that's the same thing that we're facing today. The people that are supposed to know this Bible, your big time preachers, what do they call them? The mega churches. They got 10,000 people in attendance every week. 10,000 people. Now, you know, back in the days when we used to, go to church, if you're from the ghetto and you ain't got no money, you gonna bring at least $1. Like grandma gonna give everybody $1 to give when they pass that collection plate around. So even if it's 5 people, you coming off of at least $5. But nowadays, I'm sure that $5 is probably about 20. You know, if you think about it, your average family probably gonna give $5 each kid or whatever it's for y'all. They're gonna put $5 in the bucket now. They're not putting that dollar like it's 1995. They putting the five, they putting the 20 in. At the bare minimum, you got a church with 10,000 people and they giving $20. That is $200,000, man. That's $200,000 in one weekend. They doing that times 4. That's $800,000 times 12 is $9.6 million. That's just one church. That's not the things that they selling you on the back end, the books, the self-help tapes or whatever. Who knows? DVDs back in the day. They selling shirts, tapes, all types of things to these people. Magical towels, you can wipe your face off, magical water. They are, it's a big business. And this is like, if you want to understand the Bible, you got to understand today. That's all you got to do. If you understand what's going on today, you can understand what was going on back then. So I'm going to read that verse again real quick. The book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 12. The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the adversary and the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem. Why wouldn't they believe it? Because Black people were holding it down. Latino people, we were holding it down in Jerusalem. We were a solid, wise nation. We were able to be delivered out of the hands of the Egyptians, get into our own land. We were an austere nation. We were following laws. We were moving as our own people. It wouldn't even have been fathomable for people to think that we would become to live like this. It's kind of like the same thing as if you have a nation that is full of prideful people, it's almost like you can't imagine them moving a certain way or being a certain way. One nation that comes to my mind is like Chinese people. It's not even normal for the world to look at them like a weak nation. You know what I mean? Like it's weird. That's why that whole what was the movement they had? Anti-Asian hate, stop Asian hate bill. Like, who is really bullying Asian people? If you go on an individual basis, sure, anybody can be bullied at school. Anybody can be bullied walking home down the street. But like, who is literally bullying Asian people as a group? It doesn't matter if they go into the penitentiary and there's 3 of them in there. People know there's consequences and repercussions for messing with Asian people. People know that you just can't go around and bully them as a group and as a nation. That's out. That's not happening. So much so, they literally, if any of those instances are happening for a year long, they went and got this law passed through Congress. And you can't treat these people like this. We've been here for 400 years. They've been lynching us, raping us, robbing us, murdering us, locking us up in jail, putting drugs on us, all these things, and we have no anti-Black crime bill. The police, everyone knows, have been oppressing and abusing our people. We don't have any of those things. But at this point in time, they looked at us in that same light and respect. Like, how can these people be oppressed, right? Verse 13. For the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests that have shed the blood of the just in the midst of her. This is how it happened. The people that were supposed to be the priests and prophets that are leading us have shed the blood of the just and the righteous. They were allowing people to pay for the crimes they committed, even if they were guilty. Like this man right here, if he commits adultery with this man's wife, he's supposed to be put to death. But they're not putting him to death because he's coming with that cash money. He's coming with those gifts to the priest, so they're letting it slide. He's coming with that payola. You understand? Right? And I see the sister has a question. She said, Shalom, sir, if I may. What you are bringing reminds me of what I read in Matthew 21 about them selling in the church. Right. Like I believe that's the one where we'll go ahead and pull that real quick, sis. If that's the one you're talking about when they were at the temple and Christ came through and started tearing up the temple, 21 and 12. Let's see if that's what you're talking about. Maybe a little bit different. Might be 21 and 12 to 13. Oh, I'm looking up at the wrong. Okay. Yep, that's it right there. When Christ came through with the money changers sis, that's exactly it. Like, we'll go ahead and read it real quick. The book of Matthew, chapter 21 and verse 12. And Yahushua went into the temple of the Most High and cast out all of them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves. So this, when you go into the context of that as well, right? What that is talking about is the money changers. So if you have Roman money and then you had to go in the temple to buy your dove to do a sacrifice, they had to exchange the money, right? They convert this Roman money into the Israelite money, and you go buy your dove, you go buy this and that to do a sacrifice. The people that were the money changers were not doing the weights fairly. So if you have a scale here, and then people know from being in the world, like imagine you going to go buy some tree from somebody and the scale is off. Like he telling you, oh, you getting this amount, but you're not getting this amount because the scale is broken, so it's going to be in his favor. He's giving you less than what you're paying for. That's what they were doing. They were cheating the brothers and sisters that were coming in and trying to do something righteous and taking advantage of them. So not only were they selling things in the temple for a profit, but they were taking advantage and lying to the people, right? Verse 13, and said unto them, it is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. So that's why he was angry, because they were taking advantage of the poor people, just like we were bringing out in Lamentations, right? And so this is something that it's what people in power do in order to keep their power. And that's why when we look up to people like Jay-Z and look up to your P. Diddy's and look up to whoever else you think is famous and glorious, and you think that they are amazing people because they have money and wealth. But what they don't tell you is, how did P. Diddy get all that money, wealth, and power? It's by stealing from his people. He's stealing from Biggie. He's stealing from the Locks and Jadakiss. He's stealing from Mary J. Blige. He's stealing from Mace. He's stealing from Black Rob. He's stealing from whoever else, the singers that are on his record label. He's stealing from these artists, and that's how he gets rich. But we glorify them and think that they're amazing when they're really nothing but disgusting people. And it's almost like we still don't care about it. When you heard the story, we all heard the stories. Everybody heard. Nobody is new to anybody in Black America hearing that Sean Combs was stealing money from his employees on Bad Boy. But we will sidetrack that and just be like, it's part of the game. That's what he had to do. You can't knock his hustle. You can't look down on him. You can't look at Jay-Z for snaking all of his partners and going and being greedy for. Nah, man. That's a horrible way to live. That's not how you treat your people. That's not how you treat your brothers and sisters. The oppressors know this. They don't get rich by doing that. That's the cold part about it. Let me bring that precept up real quick. We'll go back to Lamentations. This is like, let's go to Leviticus 25 and 36. So, Let's go to Leviticus chapter 25, verse 36. Like, they don't look at taking advantage of their people as a way to come up. You understand? They look at coming up off of your people as a way of coming up, but they wouldn't look at taking advantage and lying and stealing from Jewish people. Jewish people wouldn't do that. Asian people don't do that. You understand? East Indians don't do that. They say, we're going to take care of our people. We're going to come up off of your people. That's what oppression is. But we're such a slave mind. We think the only way that we can get out of our situation is further destroying our people. We'll go ahead and read. They stole this from our book and using this in order to uplift themselves. The book of Leviticus, chapter 25 and verse 36. And it reads, let's go up a little bit. The book of Leviticus, chapter 25 and verse 35. And if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then shalt thou relieve him, yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. Like, even if he's from another area, if he comes and stays with you, it's not talking about a heathen stranger. It's talking about your brother is telling you he's out of town, he's not doing good. You need to relieve him of his struggles. You need to help him out. You need to pull him up. You're not supposed to take advantage of him, right? Verse 36, take thou no usury of him or increase, but fear thy power, that thy brother may live with thee. Like, you loan him some money so that he can get on his feet. What do they call that in the record industry? An advance. They give you an advance. They give you a loan for you to put your album out. You're not supposed to put no usury or interest on top of that. You're supposed to give it to them straight up, get them on their feet, and then they pay you back, and then y'all keep going, right? Read verse, what is it? Verse 37. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him thy victuals for increase, right? That is how we're supposed to be. You're not supposed to loan somebody some money to make an increase off of that. That's how the mafia moves. They give you this money, they loan you this money, and then they call it loan sharks. They love to loan somebody some money because they know they're going to make more money by you not being able to pay them back. But the people in Israel, the Israelis, the so-called Jewish man today, they don't loan money to their people for usury, for interest. They do it to help them out, right? But let's keep going, man. We're going to go back to Lamentations real quick. I digress. That's not how we're supposed to be. But when we start acting like this is how we destroyed our people, all right? So the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 14. They have wandered as blind men in the streets. They have polluted themselves with blood, so that men could not touch their garments. Verse 15. They cried unto them, depart ye, it is unclean. Depart, depart, touch not. When they fled away and wondered, they said among the heathen, they shall no more sojourn there. Verse 16. The anger of the Lord hath divided them. He will no more regard them. They respected not the persons of the priests. They favored not the elders. Verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. So the title of tonight's class is When the Donald Trumpets Blow, right? Because if this doesn't wake Black people up, if this doesn't wake Latino people up, this doesn't wake Hispanics and Native American Indians up to who the oppressor is here in America, who the devil is according to the Bible, then nothing else will wake you up. That's what the trumpets were made for in the Bible, is to wake you up, to sound an alarm, to let you know that war is coming your way. We are living in a world where somebody that was the host of The Apprentice, a reality TV show that 10, 15 years ago, the same way you look at Jocelyn from Hip Hop and Love is the same level that Donald Trump was on, is now the president of the United States. The same way you look at Stevie J Stevie J, all them on Hip Hop of Love is the same way, same category that Donald Trump would have been in 10, 15 years ago. This person has now been made president of the US, not once, but twice. And this time it's even a greater movement towards him than it was the first time. It's almost like him not winning the second time and him winning this time is even greater. It's like I'll never forget when the Golden State Warriors were in the NBA Finals and they were up 3-1. They had one of the greatest, still the greatest regular season ever. They won 73 in 9 games. They only lost 9 games the entire. That's ridiculous to even say it like that. They lost 9 games the whole season. These Negroes were so good, they lost 9 games out of 82 games. That's it. They didn't even go into double-digit losses. They get to the NBA Finals. They go up 3-1. It's almost impossible for them to lose the championship. They have 3 games. They have to win just 1 game, and they end up losing that. Like them losing that game or losing those 3 games in a row was such a great comeback that it goes down in history because they were in such a lead that is arguably one of the best series to ever happen, man, to see that happen. LeBron James for them to come back. What Donald Trump did was greater than that. Like if he would have won the first 4 and then won the second 4, that's 8 years back to back. Like he has been around and in the mix for now is going to be 12 years. It's like his dominance is even longer because he lost the second one. There's never been a time, maybe it's been only one more time in history that someone has lost an election and they come back and win an election. But even when that happened, it was not like how this is right now. They didn't have social media. They didn't have effing TikTok. They didn't have none of these Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. They didn't have none of that, man. TV, MSNBC, NC, and all these avenues of media that everyone's learning about Donald Trump, learning about who he is, who he represents, the people that are following him. For him to come back and win that means that it's even bigger than the first time he won. He won bigger than the first time he won. He came back stronger, and he's showing you that not only are the people that are down with white supremacy or with him, the people that are supposed to be here and are Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans are siding with him as well. And that's because they have been so destroyed that they will vote for a devil like this, man. So if this doesn't wake you up to the reality of who this place really is and how they hate niggas and spics or Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, then I don't think there's too much that can happen to wake you up. All right. But so we have watched for a nation that could not save us. You watch for Kamala Harris or Kamala Harris, whatever her name is. You watch for the Democratic Party to save you, and they cannot save you. They're gonna take the money you give them, your hard-earned money. They hitting grandma, they hitting up moms for asking her for $2, $20 to help Kamala Harris. She raised over $1.5 billion and gave $10 million to Beyonce. She took $10 million that your grandma took out of her purse and gave it to Beyonce to come and talk for 3 minutes. She took $1 million out of your hard-earned money and gave it to Eminem. She took however much money and gave it to Usher and Cardi B and gave it to goddamn Megan Thee Stallion, man. She didn't give it to, like, if they really wanted to win, they should have known. All they had to do was go to the hood, take $10 million and get it on the streets. Go to East Atlanta. Go wherever they needed, one of these swing states. Go to Pennsylvania. Have a big old, what do they call it? These rallies, and give out $10 million cash to the people that show up. Give it to black people. Divide up $10 million and break bread with the nigga. Put $1,000 in the streets. That's what they say everybody voting for Trump for, because he gave $1,200. Like, it would be so simple and easy, because we're so deprived of having anything that you show a little bit of appreciation, man. Cats would have been showing up to vote so much, but they would never do that. They're going to give that money to the rich and wealthy. Let's go to see how much Beyonce is worth, and we'll go back to some more presets to lie. How much is Beyonce worth? They say as of May 2024, Beyonce Knowles Carter has a net worth of $760 million. And, and that's one half of the household. What is Jay-Z's net worth? Jay-Z is on the other side of the goddamn house. He's worth $2.5 million. So how in the hell is, we round up, she got $1 billion between her, because she's gonna hit $1 billion soon, and Jay's got 2.5. They got $3.5 billion damn near in their household, because all of it's not her money. Her mama got some money, her sister got some money. She made sure there's an ecosystem around her of millions of dollars. That's just what she's holding. She's paying her manager. She's making sure these people are doing good. These businesses they own are paying people out. That's just her net worth, right? And Kamala Harris is gonna throw her. What the hell is she gonna do with $10 million? Buy a bunch of purse money for the year. But that could change somebody's life. That could change a neighborhood's life. You could go into a neighborhood and put $10 million and see what it does. She could have given that to the priests and prophets and seen what that does and what we would do with that money. She's gonna go blow it on purses, man. But these are the evil things that we've done because we're looking for a nation to save us that could not save us, when we really should be looking for our King, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Let's go to Numbers chapter 10 and verse 9. If you got anything else, sis, that was a good precept to bring out. Go ahead. If anything stands out or any questions come to you, go ahead and put them in the chat. The book of Numbers chapter 10 and verse 9. And if ye go, Salakia, hold on. Good. And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord your power, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. Like, if you go to war in your land against your enemy that oppresseth you, then you shall go out. What does it say? Then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets. And so, this is a play on words, obviously, with Donald Trump. But this is what we are saying, man. When the trumpets are blown, when you hear the alarm being blown out, that the enemies are here, the enemies are coming, enemies have arrived, you're supposed to wake the hell up. The same way you got an alarm clock in the morning, you're supposed to wake up. Don't put that thing on snooze. Wake up and get up and handle business. Well, the enemies are coming. We got to blow these trumpets. We got to wake up and handle our goddamn business, man. Get prepared for war, because that's what they're doing. The second he wins, somebody starts sending out texts. Get ready to get back on the plantation. Get ready to get back into captivity. I saw Captain Mashak posted, and it was like a van's gonna be picking you up, taking you to your plantation. I thought that was Captain Mashak saying that, like, that's what we're gonna be doing to these oppressors, putting them into chains and having them go into captivity. But nah, that's these devils bragging about their leader getting put into place. But they are uniting, they're coming together, They're wanting to make America great again by putting Black people in their place, by putting Latino people in their place, by putting Native American Indians in their place. So we have to unite. We have to come together. We have to be prepared to fight back and really put them in their place. And the way that we're going to do that is having the Lord on our side. All right, let's go to Luke chapter 18, verse 1 and 9. I was watching on the way over here an interview with Captain God with a, I believe it was a sister. She looked like an Israelite sister. You know, she did have the spirit of the devil on her, but that's the majority of our people anyway. And Captain Akash, during the interview, she's asking why we teach that we want Black people and Latino people to separate from America. And it always, you know, confuses me or perplexes me of how people can't understand why we say these things. Like whether you disagreed or not, should it matter? You should at least understand why we're saying these things. Like they won't even give us the reasonable doubt, and they're showing the hypocrisy that they do understand these things because that's not what they're telling the people in Gaza right now. That's not what they're telling the Palestinians. The majority of people that so like you have a let me see, drink this yerba mate and get some of this caffeine from this tea right here. You know, like it. But you know, they understand why the Palestinians should not be with the Israelis. They say that Israelis came, took the land, oppressed them. There should be a two-party or whatever, two-state, two-nation state solution. Separate the Palestinians from the Israelis, give them their own laws, give them their own rights, and that's how they will be free. But for some reason, when we say Black people should separate, it just becomes blame the victim mentality. Like they say they can't even understand why you're saying it, and then they blame you for being hateful. Good night. And the situation, she tried to get around it. He was like, and it's so simple, everybody can understand it. I don't know how you can argue it, but he asked her, he said, if your mother was raped by me, if I rape your mother, would you tell your mother she should love me and she should be around me? And she first tried to say, yeah, just to save face. And she was like, nah, that sounds crazy. He said, if a husband is beating the wife, should you tell her to stay with that husband? No, they're not going to say that. So then why is it that Black people should stay with the people that are abusing us? Why should we stay and love the people that have done nothing but harm us and oppressed us for 400 goddamn years? They want to always skirt around it and make it another thing than something being that simple. We were not a part of this country to begin with. We had nothing to do with its creation. Why should we find a way to work within this system? Why? Let me see another thing, and I'll answer the sister's question. I'll pull up the precept next. Well, let me see. Let me see if it comes up. I've never looked this up before. I'm gonna see if it comes up. I'm gonna ask Google, why should the Ukrainians be independent? Let's see that. God damn. This is, I don't even know. This is just on some random website where people um make their own comments. But let's see what we got. Let's see. What did it say? Hold on, something came up on here. That whoever wrote that, I'm like, wow. Where did that come up? I can't see. Somebody made some comments though, but I'm gonna go up. I can't find it right here, but in the intro, it says it. I'll go back into this quick comment. What it says though, it says not only does Ukraine deserve independence, but it's entitled to gazillions worth of reparations from Russia. Um, uh, let's see what else happened. Let's see. Let's see if anything comes up. Oops. Let's see how it works. Okay, we'll go to this a little bit. This aid is key to helping Ukraine. Talking about the money that the U.S. is giving them. Forces taken on in many areas push back the Russians. U.S. government officials said in January that more than 300,000 Russians have been killed or wounded in Ukraine. Wallander said the United States wants a Ukraine that is sovereign, independent, secure, and that the Ukrainian people do not want Russian overlords and are fighting for their freedom. We want Ukrainian people to be able to live the European life they have chosen, said during the discussion. While supporting Ukraine is the right thing to do, U.S. support is about more than just Ukraine. Our support is about the international order that keeps all countries and all populations safe, including Russia. Putin is seeking to shred the international order, the assistant secretary said. Putin wants the ability for large countries to intimidate and dominate smaller neighbors, right? And so all of these things, like it's just so crazy that they are saying because the Russians are trying to take over the Ukraine, that them being allowed to do that is not just like America helping support their freedom. Is not just about Ukrainian freedom. It's about all the other countries' freedom. Because if you just let this country go over here and bully them because they're smaller, then who's to say they won't go to the next country and do it? Who's to say they won't go to this country and do it? And that's the same thing that Black people and Latinos have been saying here in the UPK, man. Brothers and sisters in the truth. We're saying that America have been allowed to bully us for 400, 500 years. And if you think that it's okay for them to do that to us, what do you think is going to happen to any other nation? They're going to go around and bullying all these other nations, man. But we let it slide, or they let it slide because it's us. They'll tell us we have to join in with them. But we would be evil if we said the same thing to them. Oh man, the Russians, y'all should hold hands with the Russians. You should have a democratic, you should vote. The Russians out here dropping bombs on the Ukraine. Nah, y'all should have a vote about it. Maybe y'all should try to integrate with the Russians. Maybe y'all should try to democratically elect a Russian over you to be your overlord. Maybe that's how y'all should do. Nah, that sounds evil, and that sounds I don't even know any other way. Like that sounds nothing but utterly evil to teach that to some people that are victims. But they blame us as the victims as being evil against the oppressor for wanting to separate from them. You tell that woman she is evil for trying to leave the man that is raping her. You tell the woman that is being beat by her husband that she's evil for trying to move out of that house and go live somewhere else. And she's trying to go into this protection home so that she can save her eye from being knocked out of the socket every night, that something is wrong with her. That's what they do to us. And I think that's the definition of gaslighting. We've been gaslit into believing this nonsense, right? Let me go to the precept of Sister Poole. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 10 through 12. Most High in Christ. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. Man, that is an excellent precept. our brothers and sisters have been under a strong delusion that this place called America is the greatest place on planet Earth. That no matter how evil this place is, then this is the best place on planet Earth. That we think it's inconceivable for us to build a nation that is better than this. It's not even possible. We have become racist against our own race because of the things we've been indoctrinated with. Like, you'll hear us say all the time, black people can't get along. There's nothing that we can't do this, we can't do that, we'll never do this, we'll never do that, because we believe the way we are is inherent in our blood, instead of realizing the way we are is because of what's inherent in their blood. It's inherent in them to have hatred for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Let's get that precept and we'll go back to some that I already had. It's Ezekiel 35 and 5. Right. This is talking about Mount Seir, or the children of Edom. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 35, verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time of their iniquity, had and hands. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So this is the glorious thing about what the Lord is saying, that even though these people have destroyed us for years and years and years, their hatred is going to catch up to them. And because they have loved to destroy us, the Lord is going to love to destroy them. Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh Shah. And this is where Donald Trump comes into play. He is the representation of the pride of America. Like, it can't get any more prideful than Donald Trump. You cannot get any more prideful than Donald Trump. They said that he probably would have never even wanted to be president of the United States if it wasn't for a dinner where Barack Obama was roasting him and making fun of him, and had him sit in a room full of his peers and different people laughing at him. That was the moment he knew, okay, you know what? I'm going to run for president and I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to win. And he found his target market. Who knows what he really believes? Does he really even care about the people that are part of MAGA? I doubt it, right? But he said, you know, this is where I'm going to market myself and treat it just like a business and get these people to love this brand and get behind this brand. And then they're going to want to be involved and follow me. And no matter what the hell I say, they're going to go with it. And he used that in order to get in power. But his pride would not let him give up when Obama disrespected him like that. And even though Obama might have been saying some truthful things, like, you out here making fun of me or lying on my name saying I'm not an American citizen when I was born in America, this is why I'm making fun of you. He didn't care that he actually did something. That's the American way. That's why he is like he literally is the voice of America. And people in America are trying to cover up who they really are in order to keep everyone else asleep. That's what the Democratic Party is for. Like, he is speaking the unconscious or subconscious mind of America. He's vocalizing it every day, every minute of his life. He's saying the things that they say. And so his behavior is so apropos, it's so appropriate, it's so poetic in how he carries himself, because he did something for Barack Obama to be roasted him. He was out here lying on Barack Obama. He was being racist and using subtle racism against Barack Obama and turning people against him, saying that he wasn't born in America, knowing good and goddamn well and nobody making it to America's president without having a birth certificate. You can't even get a job at Walmart damn near without a birth certificate, but somehow he's going to become president of the United States without a birth certificate. You out your goddamn mind. But he went on this whole movement of getting people, rallying people up, saying that he was not an American citizen. And then when Obama is tired of hearing his name drugged in the dirt, comes and roasts you and makes fun of you and talks crap about you, you take it personally and want to go to war with him and everybody else that's with him. And that's America. When they know the reason why we are in the ghetto protesting, coming out, tearing up the communities because of years and years of the police abusing us, America doesn't say, damn, you know what? We did do something to these people. We should figure out how we can make it better. They go and turn and say that we are going to even go harder on these people. We're going to tighten up on them even more. We're going to further try to find ways to oppress them. That's the pride that America has, right? Let's get to Revelations 18. We'll talk about that pride that America has. Got some more precepts. Revelations chapter 18. Let's see where we start. Salakia. Let's see. All right, the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wines of the earth, have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So these are all the things, like this place is falling and it will fall because of all of the evil that it has done. And Babylon the Great is fallen and become the habitation of devils and the hold of every foul spirit and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Right? For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Like everyone has become wealthy off of the evil that America has done. All these stock markets and global markets around the world, the reason why they have billions and trillions of dollars is because America stole their startup money. No different than you see a robber that or a gangster or a mafioso that has a whole bunch of legal businesses but started off doing crime. That is what America is. It's a criminal organization that was started and has tried to convert to become legitimate. And that's all they've done. They started off committing crimes, stealing the land from the Native Americans, backdooring them on treaties, setting them up, enslaving black people, raping black people. These are the crimes that America has committed in order to gain power. And all these other nations get to enjoy the fruits of her evilness, right? Verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled to her double. Right? And so that's where we at with this place, man. This is our time for us to separate from them and get our own thing and sit back and stay out of their politics, stay out of their games, stay out of their, little world and bubble that they want to get you emotionally invested in and focus on our own. This is what these other nations, this is what the Asians do, this is what the East Indians do. They're focusing on their own people, on their own kind, and they're living well. Let's drop that. Let's get another precept. Let's go to Luke chapter 18 and verse 1. The book of Luke chapter 18 and verse 1. And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint, saying, so he was saying this is what men should always pray for. Don't give up because things aren't going your way. This is how we should be. This is how we should want our people to be and our men and soldiers to be. And he spake unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint, saying, there was in a city a judge which feared not the Most High, neither regarded man. This judge didn't care about what the Lord said, and he for sure don't give a damn about what anybody coming in his court is saying. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of mine adversary. And he would not for a while. But afterward he said within himself, though I fear not the Most High, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. And the Lord said, hear what the unjust said, and shall not the Most High avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? Like, for one, the Lord is saying, or Christ is saying that, hey, these people that are harming this sister, she is going to the judges day in and day out and saying, hey, avenge me of these people that have harmed me, right? And an unjust that did not care about anything that was righteous say, you know what, I'm going to make sure that she gets justice for these crimes these men have done to her. I'm going to make sure that she gets vengeance, right? That's the same thing that we need to be praying for. We need to be praying for vengeance against our enemies and let the Lord take care of that and let the Lord handle that. All right. Let's drop down to, let's see, right here. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 40. First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 40. We'll start at verse 37. Upon the book of First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 37. Upon this, all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Zion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate, and the altar profane, and the gates burned up, and shrubs growing in the courts as in the forest, or in one of the mountains, yea, and the priest's chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation and cast ashes upon their heads. Verse 40, and fell down flat to the ground upon their faces, and blew an alarm with the trumpets, and cried toward heaven. Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary. Like these, this brother said he fell down flat upon the ground and on his face and blew an alarm with the trumpets and cried towards heaven. That's what we are missing. That's a certain amount of humility. Because if you think you can just go out here and liberate your people by going to war with these oppressors without crying to the Lord and having them on your side, then you're going to be highly mistaken. Even a few years ago, they had the was that guy's name? The Not Effing Around Coalition or something like that. Something like that. They were going out and starting some type of militia, bringing brothers together. They had sisters in there. Everybody got AR-15s and choppers, and ended up shooting one of their own members and on accident. Just a lot of foolishness, but they were not really getting prepared to go to war because they were trying to do it themselves. If they really wanted to get prepared to go to war, they would cry out to the Lord. They would blow the trumpets and ask the Lord to deliver us because that is our last hope. If China with a 1,000,000-man army, I think they might be at 2 million people. I know we might have looked that up at another time, but how many people are in the Chinese people? How many people they got in the Chinese army? They got 2 million active duty, 500,000 reserve, 600,000 paramilitary, total 4 million people. They got 4 million people in their goddamn army. And China still is not trying to have no head of war with America. How in the hell are these Negroes in Savannah, Georgia, going to march with 15 people down the street with AR-15s talking about they're getting ready for war with them? No, you're not getting ready for war. The only people that are intelligent enough to get ready for war with America are brothers and sisters in the ISUPK and the Command General Yohana. You understand? This is where the fight is. This is where the fight begins. And that's why the Bible is telling you to sound that alarm, because we're out here to wake up our people to these things, to understand how to really get free from this place. All right, let's drop that. Let's go to the next precept. We got like 1 or 2 more precepts, and then we'll go ahead and close out this class. Sloppy. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 32. World War III is at the doorsteps, man. And this devil is going to push America one step closer to World War III and those bombs getting dropped, right? And this is the time, right? The book of Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 32. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. This is what you're just saying. Some people saying we want to serve wood. Some people saying we want to serve stone. Some people saying we need to serve the Democrats. Some people saying we need to serve the Republicans. It's the same thing, right? Verse 33, as I live, saith the Lord, the Most High, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. Like this fury that's going to be poured out is on the nations. I've got to think about, let's see this. This number is always amazing to me. Let's see. This is, you can't change history. You cannot change history. And I love to see this every time we pull it up. We've been through how many wars? Vietnam, World War I, World War II, Desert Storms, Iraq, Afghanistan, Korea, all these different wars America has had. The Mexican-American War, the French-American War, the Bay of Pigs. I mean, you can go on and on and on and on. How many conflicts America has been in? Which war had the most American soldiers die? Let me see if anybody put it in the chat. I'm asking everybody in the chat to put it. Do y'all know what our Googling is? I just wanted to make sure before I say it, but I already know the answer. Anybody know which war had the most soldiers, American soldiers, die? I give it 30 more seconds. See if anybody put it in the chat. All right. For time's sake, we'll go in. Sometimes the answers start coming in. But you know the war that had the most casualties of American soldiers was the Civil War. 620,000 soldiers died. In World War II, they had nuclear bombs going off. They had all types of weaponry, advanced weaponry. Only 400,000 American soldiers died in World War II. Only 116,000 soldiers died in World War One. Vietnam War, when I was coming up, we thought that was like the most, and it wasn't an atrocious war. All these wars are horrible. All these things are graphic and disgusting to see 58,000 people die in Vietnam. But that was only 58,000 compared to 620,000 people died in the Civil War. Why am I saying that? That these people and their pride and love for oppressing you so much, they willing to kill each other over us. That's what we come into again. These people have so much pride in owning you that they are going to destroy themselves because of their greed. Like, it's so many stories. And how did that go? I think it was every movie, it's always this stuff happens in so many different ways. But wasn't that movie with the Oompa Loompa? What was it Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, whatever that movie was called? And there was one kid, he was so greedy to eat the chocolate or something like that, or the kid just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, just eating all this food that they basically exploded or drowned in the chocolate. Something like that, man. Like, somebody could have just been happy and been able to eat as much as they wanted and say, you know what, I don't want no more. But that greed caused them to go overboard and go so much, they end up killing themselves or harming themselves or destroying themselves. That's America for you. Like, they could stop right here where they are and say, you know what, the economy is a little bit messed up. You know what, Black people in America, they are asking for assistance here. You know what, these so-called Guatemalans are coming to America. These people from El Salvador are coming over here, and they're looking for jobs, and they taking some of these tax dollars from the people. They can say, you know what, we had a hand in destroying El Salvador. We had a hand in destroying Guatemala. We had a hand in destroying the ghettos and the barrios of America. And the fact that they need our help is something that we at least owe them. We'll still be able to live our lives. We'll still be able to go on vacations and have beautiful lives, even if we help them out. Nah, Donald Trump, no go. He like, nah, we need to get them back on the plantation. We need to get them back second-class citizens. We need to deport all of these illegal immigrants, quote unquote, back to their country so they can go back to that hellhole, and there's no resources over there, and they will literally crawl back to America to sneak into here and to get the even lower paying jobs. Like, in the business world, they love talking about, they hear a few things. They always talking about they want to scale a business. I'm like, what the hell? That is some new. We got to scale the business. We got these scaling the wall. We got to scale this business to make more money, to be more profitable. And they always talk about what is it? They talk about you got to scale the business, and you also got to what is the word that I'm looking for? They're one of these people to come back. Oh, they always talk about leverage. Like, you making business deals, you got to have some type of leverage. If you don't have any leverage, it's hard for you to bargain for something. If you over here, you saying you can do this deal for this amount of money because you got this many clients and blah, 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 blah. Somebody else is saying, man, I got double that, triple that. They have more leverage than you. They can bargain more than you can because they're in a position of power. They can, speak strongly. Well, America is saying that if they go and push these people back to Guatemala, they'll have more leverage than we're dealing with them. Now you might have to pay them $3 an hour. You might have to give them $4 an hour, $2 an hour. But if they get sent back home and there's literally no more food in El Salvador or Guatemala because they have a big influx of the people that left coming back and they're already struggling, then when they come back over here again, America has all the leverage. They can tell them that I will give you 50 cents a day, and they're going to jump on it. They're going to take whatever is given to them because they don't want to go back to the place that you destroyed. And that's what the games is being played. But at the same time, the Lord is seeing through all this. And this is why this is a glorious time, man, because he is going to come with what did it say? His head is going to be, the Lord said, we'll reverse Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 34. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and fury poured out. That's how he's going to destroy this place because they don't want to admit that they've been wrong. They don't want to, and that's the war that's going on between them allegedly, between the liberals and the Democrats, is that one side is saying, you know what, we got to admit some kind of guilt. We have to try to make things right in certain ways. But they're full of BS because they don't even come out with the one thing that could make things right. If you did anything else, anyone else, anything similar to what they've done to us, to anyone else, they know they got to pay. You got to pay for those things. You harm somebody sues you, you got to cash out. They don't want to cash out Black people. They don't want to cash out Native Americans. They don't want to cash out, Hispanics. So how is it that they want to make things right? You bring that up to them and they are going to shame you and victim blame you when that's the one thing they could do to make this thing right. And they know it, but they try to find any way to get around that, which should be our reasoning to get away from them. All right. So let's go to the next precept. Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. And it reads, "But proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up." Verse 10, "Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about, thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh." Like, this is a cry for everyone to get ready for war. Once again, turn your what does it say? It says, beat your plowshares into swords. These things you're going out here farming with, beat that thing that you're over here trying to farm with and turn it into a goddamn weapon. Because this is the times that we're living in. These games that you're playing, knock it off, and get ready for the war that is coming to this place. And this war is coming to this place to free you. That's the cold part about it. But, we try to, I want to say, look at celebrities as what's right and what's wrong. And that was never supposed to be the case. But let's see, we'll go to a couple more precepts, like I said. Let's go to Isaiah 34 and 17, and we got Amos, and we got 2 Peter. Isaiah 34 and 17. That's what I want. Now let's drop that. Let's go to Amos 5 and 18. The book of Amos, chapter 5 and verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. Like destruction is coming to the people that want the day of the Lord because they're not living in righteousness. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. Let's keep going down a little bit. It's darkness and not light. Verse 19, as if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it? Verse 21, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Like, all of these things are intertwined. The Lord is hating us, gathering with these other nations, celebrating how they celebrate. The Lord hates these things. And if we wake up to see what they really are, we will never want to do these things again. All right, let's go to 2 Peter chapter, 3 verse 10. Let's see, 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. Hold on. Matter of fact, let's just start at verse 1. We're going to come all the way down and we'll close at that. All right. The book of 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. Verse 2, that ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior. Verse 3, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of the Lord the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished. That's talking about the flood, right? Verse 7, but the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. Verse 8, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So don't be discouraged that you're seeing these people that are continuing to win for years and years and years and generation and generation. 1 year, Salakia, but one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day. Verse 9, the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. And so that is what the Lord is saying, that he's long suffering the children of Israel, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, not because he's weak or he just, is a pushover. He's saying he is loving and forgiving the children of Israel because they're repentant, and that's who he's going to give another shot. Um, Verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. This is the fervent heat. People are going to be destroyed in thermonuclear warfare. And the people that could have been saved will not be saved because they don't want to take heed to what the priests and prophets are saying. So, once again, I will not hold this class any longer, but our job is to sound these trumpets. You understand? And we knew what was going to happen before Trump got in office. We knew what was going to happen if Kamala got in office. We know what's going to happen because of what this Bible tells us was going to happen. And that's where we put our faith in. And that's why we move according to that. Everyone else may move according to however they're feeling that morning, but how we're moving is according to this Bible. And that's the only way. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out the class. I'm going to say, Yahweh Bashem Yahshai Brother Thumb to all the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Thumb Bashem Yahshai to all the sisters. The water for all the comments and the questions, sister. And I believe the sister will be in attendance on Saturday for our food drive giveaway. Lord allow, we'll see all of y'all there on that day. It's going to be a glorious event, and that is something I will promote right now as well. The ISUPK Northern California will be having a food giveaway this Saturday on 85th and International, 85th and E14 in Oakland, California, East Oakland, California. We'll be out there feeding the people with the things that were given to us via Command and General Yohana to go out there and do this work, because this is a part of us ringing that alarm. It's gathering the people together and letting them know who really cares about you. Kamala Harris didn't take none of that money and go out and feed not a goddamn person. We were some lowly brothers in the most expensive area to live, damn near on planet Earth in the Bay Area. We're gonna find a way to pull our resources together to go out and feed our people. But the people that collected $1.5 billion ain't did no food giveaways. I heard the broad is in debt after all that money they collected. Ain't that about a shame, man? So if you don't know who your energy should be focused on, who's actually going to help your people, who's going to change people's lives, because we got the, what do they call it, the sample size. If you're doing an experiment, you need a sample size population in order to certify what your experiment is trying to prove. What is that? It says the sample size needed for statistical significance depends on the type of study. The research goal in the field of study. Here are some general guidelines. Relational surveys. The sample size should be at least 30. Casual, comparative, and experimental studies. The sample size should be more than 50. Survey research. For major subgroup, the sample size should be 100. For minor subgroup, it should be 20 and 50. Like, there's a certain amount of people that you should put in your experiment to say how it actually represents across the board. So I know I'm supposed to get gone out y'all here, but a little bit more like, if you want to say, this will help 80% of Black men if you institute this rule right here and start doing it. And if you were to study 100, 200, 500 is the same black men and see what you're saying is true, then within that population, you'll get a certain amount of consistency and you can magnify it times the broader population. So if you're helping five, just do it as 1,000. So theoretically. Let's see. Let's see if this comes out. Okay. How many black people live? It's 2.2 million people, black people that live in California. So how could you do that? So let's say 500 people. Oh. 2 million people. You do a sample size of 500 people. All you have to do is take out that percentage and times it by 4,000, and you'll get what you need. Because you take 2 million divided by 500 people, you get 4,000. So let's say 30% of the people in this sample size have this result, and you can times that by 4,000 and you'll get to the number that you want. So out of the 2 million people. So what am I saying all that to say? I'm saying that this UPK in American standard, let's say it was an experiment. Let's say we were running an experiment and saying that out of all these people that come into our doors and join, the conversion rate of them becoming this type of man and this type of woman and doing these type of things is this much. And if you recreate what we're doing here and multiply according to the population of the people that live in California, then you should see the same result out of that amount of people. If 30% of the people that come into the UPK and actually get locked in don't sell drugs, don't use drugs, don't abuse women, then if you multiply that by the amount of people that lived in California, you would say 30% of 2 million, which is what times 600,000. You understand? Like, if you was able to multiply that sample size, you could get 600,000 people's lives to change by making the programs that we do in the UPK bigger. But they know that, and they don't want these programs to go bigger because they know it works. How evil is that? They know if they put their money to us, we would help more people. That goes against their agenda, so they won't do it. All right. But that's why it's on us to gather ourselves together to fight this fight so that we can defeat the enemies of our people. So with that, I'm going to say it one more time. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Ashar, thumbs to all the brothers. Yahweh Shemana, Dhamma Shem Ashar to all the sisters.